You know what I can't stand? I can't stand people, two different types of people here. One, keyboard warriors, and two, the people who are unable to commit to something even when they really want to do something, but they just can't get over themselves and can't push through it to commit to something. Hey everybody, I'm Devin Postlesny. Welcome here to DP Uncensored. And as you just heard, those are our two topics for today. And man, oh man, I am fired up about this one, and you're going to enjoy it. First one, this is the first podcast back in almost a month. It's been a crazy in-between season. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. A lot of prep work, a lot of getting ready, a lot of getting ready for spring sports, a lot of all that. Again, we'll talk about that in a little while. Currently recording this on April 18th. It's Monday, 9:45 in the morning. I'm driving home from Castleton, Vermont. Yeah, I day tripped this, or morning tripped it. Left my house at 5 in the morning to get to Vermont, or get to Castleton by 8. Do everything I gotta do. Leaving Castleton at 9:30 to get home, and be prepared for softball later today. Sorry, I was just driving by a state trooper, and I'm pretty sure Vermont is okay with podcasts being recorded while driving, but who knows. All right, so again, you heard my opening statement, and let's fire right off into this. I'm going to vent real quick, and because we already kind of talked about keyboard warriors in an episode prior, and this is just another chapter to the ongoing saga and frustration that is these people. When your favorite company, or when you're a company you're watching something through, ESPN, ABC, Fox News, Fox Sports, NBC, NBCSN, MSNBC, whatever the channel might be, if they mess up something, what's the first thing you do if you are one of these keyboard warriors? You message them, you email them, you send them your opinion or your thoughts. You know, I don't know how many times in the sporting industry you see people on the comment feed after, you know, NASCAR on Fox posts, or NBC on, or NASCAR on NBC, or whoever, you know, MLB, whatever it is, posts on there, you know, this was this race or game's ratings, and then people are commenting underneath, that was horrible, you guys, coverage sucks, you know, things like that. And it's all because they feel comfortable with their thumbs to comment that, right? All right, so I got one for you. If you have an issue with how my company is working and how my company does something, I don't care if you're a keyboard warrior at this point, but do not talk about it behind my company's back. All right? Especially, here's another thing. Know your audience. All right? I had multiple subcontractors come to me after a game or after a week's worth of games, whatever, and say, hey, so-and-so said that you guys botched this broadcast, or that this game really wasn't good, or this is an issue, this is an issue, that's an issue, this is an issue. And I said to them, thank you for the feedback, appreciate that, you know, and everything that they had wrong with it had a legit reason that it happened, right? But let me tell you something. Why do I have to hear that? Or let me ask you something, I should say. Why do I have to hear that from my subcontractors? You know, I understand that you may not have the ability to say it to my face, which is completely understandable. You know, we all got lives. We're all really busy. I get it. But send me a message. Send an email. You know, make a phone call. Wow, that's a crazy idea. Phone. Who knew? You guys know that you can still chat through the things you type on, just hit dial and go. My point is why do people feel that it is okay to sit there and, first of all, make judgment on something that they don't understand? You know, look, I understand this game, that camera was really dark on the backstop. I get it. I'm really sorry about that. But just know that it's not like I went to the field and said, time to screw them over. No. For the most part, DP Production Group is a self-taught business. All right? Anybody involved in DPPG will tell you that. You know, yes, I personally have my resources. So if there's something I have a question for, I'll text somebody, I'll message somebody, I'll send an email, I'll say, hey, what's your thoughts on this? Hey, have you used this product? Things like that. But I would say 50% of the time, I'm pulling open a YouTube tab and typing in the camera name, model, too dark, or mixer doesn't work. Or something like that. You know, my point is that there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't understand and that they're the first to judge you on. And that is what irritates me. Because, you know, that's not exactly what irritates me. What irritates me is when they judge you on it, right? And then they talk about you behind your back. You know, I laughed one time when literally somebody came up to me and said, oh yeah, the production company who's streaming today's game is really not doing well. I mean, have you seen what they're putting out? Look at their product. And this is somebody talking to me. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, it's like total and absolute dog poop and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, have you let them know that? No, because it'll just fall on deaf ears. And I turned and looked at them and said, well, it didn't. And they kind of gave me a look, and I put my hand out and said, Devin Poslesny, DPPG owner. And immediately the person straightened up and was like, oh, well, you know, I didn't, you know, and I was just like, listen, dude, whatever. You know, that's another thing. Know your audience, okay? You don't know who is in the room with you as you're sitting there spewing your venom towards a company who's doing their best. All right? We're all human. We are all in this together in the sense that we're all going to make mistakes. All right? You guys are judging DP Production Group based off of the first week worth of games. All right? You have no idea how hard it is to switch from winter sports to spring sports. So you're judging us based off of something that you really don't understand. Because it's not as easy as plug in a camera and hit record. So you want to sit there and you want to make your behind the back comments. First of all, go ahead. But it's just going to make me question on whether or not I want to go to your next game. I have no problem with feedback. All right? And I'll admit, one of the broadcasts that we got the negative feedback on, I wasn't happy with either. You know, I get it. I understand that there is a level of, I don't want to say perfection, but a level of, I mean, yeah, okay, we'll loosely say a level of perfection that, or there's an expectation, there it is, there's an expectation that you're going to get a certain level of quality when you hire DPPG or when DPPG shows up at your game. And I get that sometimes we miss that mark. You know, sometimes we have a tech issue, or sometimes Mother Nature gets involved. You know, I get that. And I understand that. And I have no issue with you saying, hey, why did this happen? Hey, why did that happen? And I'll tell you. I will point blank say, yeah, this is why that happened. I'm sorry. What I will not accept is when somebody comes to me and says, hey, so-and-so's talking dog poop about your company. And the thing that really hurts is when I know that person more than just the athlete that is on this sports team. You know, it's when the person who is supposedly talking about your company in a bad light will sit there and say to your face that you're doing a fantastic job. But then as soon as you turn around, we'll say, what a joke. That's what I have an issue with. You have a problem, send us a message. Happy to reply, happy to help out as much as I can. I say it all the time. You know, we are in the entertainment business. Let me know how to better entertain you. You know, or at least let me be able to explain what went wrong. You know, because tech issues happen. So allow me to sit there and say, yes, that did break. And this is why it happened. All right, at least give me that right away. At least give me that opportunity, I should say. That rant is over. Again, I have no issue with feedback. I'm all for it. What I have an issue with is when you talk about my company behind my back in a negative way. You know, if you're going to sit there and talk with your teammates about how the coverage looked pretty cool, go ahead. You know, I'm not going to sit there and be like, you're talking about my company. No. You know, it's just when you're talking bad about my company behind my back, behind its back, I should say, and it's advertising a negative tone. You know, because as much as you might, and this goes back to what I was saying about know who's in your room, or who's in the room. As much as you might be sitting there just saying to your friend, oh yeah, I mean, the audio was bad, and it's, the camera work was kind of iffy. And then then you say, but you know what? Overall, it was a really good game, really good broadcast. Really happy that they got it on film. The person who just got up and walked out of the room only heard that DP Production Group, and this is what I'm saying, they hear DP Production Group has bad sound quality, their camera work is blah, and their coverage isn't that great because of those two things going together. So what does that mean? That means that next time when they see the DP Production Group ad on Facebook, they're going to say to their friends, oh, I heard they have bad sound quality and that their cameraman isn't great. And then their friends say that to their friends. And then their friends say that to their friends. And then all of a sudden, the small business known as DP Production Group isn't getting work because of the word of mouth being negative. All because somebody said in a negative tone that was bad. Again, I'm not sitting there saying don't talk about us. Talk about us in a negative, positive tone. That's okay too. But make sure that it's not just all negative. Because as much as it's irritating to me to find out later on down the road that so-and-so thought that this was an issue, and it's like, well, how would I know to fix that? That is something I love about people. And it's usually players' names. They're a 3-sport athlete. I say the name wrong in the fall. Nobody corrects me. Okay. Say the player's name in the winter. Continue to say it the way I said in the fall because nobody corrected me. Nobody sent me a message. Even when I say on a broadcast, if I'm saying this incorrect, let me know. And then come springtime, I say the player's name wrong. About halfway through the season, somebody comes up and goes, hey, it's this. Really? All right, well, I can't take back the hundreds of hours of film that I have of me saying them wrong. That's just an example. But if there's something wrong with what we're doing or you want to give us feedback, how am I supposed to know what we can and can't fix if you're just saying it to your friend? Before I move on, I'll say this. I know that a lot of people out there who listen to this appreciate what we do. And for that, I say thank you. And I want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge that the majority of people who support DPPG, appreciate what we do, and they understand that sometimes we have bad days. No, I'm not going to start singing, but, they understand that. They understand that. And when I'm sitting here venting about these people, I'd say it's probably a total, I can count the amount of people on my hands that have said stuff to behind our, have fallen into this category. So again, the majority of DPPG Nation is good. And again, we appreciate your support. And we appreciate the support of the people who are never happy with what we do too, because you're still supporting us. One of my favorite race car drivers of all time, Dale Earnhardt Sr., once said, It doesn't matter if they're cheering or they're booing you, they're still making the effort to acknowledge you. Think about that. It's the same thing with naysayers. Somebody says, great job, thank you. Somebody says, F you, thank you. Because as much as those might be negative or completely opposite responses, the basics are there to say that they're thinking about what you've done enough to make a statement. Listen, I want all positive feedback. I want everybody to love what we do, but I also understand that we are not perfect. You know, I understand that we have things to work on and to fix and practice and perfect. I get that. But like I said, what irritates me is when you talk dog poop about my product behind my back and don't make the effort to send the message. Don't make the effort to say, hey, this was kind of poopy. You know? That's where you lose me. All right. If that wasn't an exciting 23 minutes, I don't know what else you want from me. The main point or main portion of today's podcast is talking about commitment issues. And I'm gonna fine tune that. Commitment issues in athletics, okay? Because, you know, some people have commitment issues with different things in life. But when talking about sports, and this is going to kind of go back to or wrap around to our last podcast, which was titled Feed the Programs with Numbers. Or feeder programs with numbers or something like that. I was pretty clever. And we're talking about the fact that a lot of athletes these days who lack the ability to fully commit to something. All right. I watched a athletic program, like a team, recruit a whole bunch of people, you know, in their school. Hey, do you want to play? Yeah, sure. Okay, great. Give me your number. I'll put you into this group chat. All right, come season time, they have great numbers. You know, this team is looking strong. Come season time, they say, we're going to have a meeting. Come on out. We'll have an informational meeting. And half the people who signed up didn't show up. When these captains approached these people who didn't show up, they gave reasons like, I can't come to practices every day. Or they said, I didn't realize that practices were 2 hours long. Or I can't come on Fridays. The program, the team, thankfully, had enough to be able to proceed in their season, which is great. But it is something that is being seen across all major, like all sports. There was a point where a team who had consistently good numbers for this one, or a school that had consistently good numbers for this one team, was potentially not going to have that team this year. And again, this goes back to what I was saying about numbers. For some reason, there are not a lot of athletes wanting to participate these days. And I don't know if it's like laziness. I don't know if it's lack of time management skills. You know, I hate to be that guy, but if you do not feel like you can attend a 2-hour practice that happens 45 minutes to an hour after school is done, or not even, most practices aren't even 2 hours. Most practices are topping out at an hour, hour and a half. But either way, if you feel like you can't attend that, but you're able to attend a 6-hour-long school day and then go home and do homework for 2 hours, but more importantly, then be able to, I don't know, play Xbox or be on your phone or sit there and scroll through TikTok for 3 hours, there's an issue. All right, you're required to be at school. Yep. You're required to do homework because of school. Yep. If you think about this, you get out of school at 2, 2:30, 3 o'clock some places, right? If you're getting 10 hours of sleep, school starts at, let's say, 7. You're out of bed at 5:30, 6 o'clock, if you're giving yourself an hour, hour and a half, depending on where you are located, in like comparison to bus routes and everything. So 5 o'clock, back that up 7 hours, 8 hours for sleep. So 5 to midnight is 5. Another 3 would be 9 o'clock. So let's say you're going to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, right? You're out of school at 3. We'll just say 3 because it's the later of the options. So from 3 to 7, 3 to 10, you have 7 hours. All right. So from 3 to 5, you have practice. So from 5 to 10, you have 5 hours. Your homework takes 2 hours, 3 hours. Okay. That leaves you 2 hours to be able to eat dinner and relax. Okay. I don't know what high school kid goes to bed at 10. And I'm going to be honest, when I was a high school kid, I was topping out at around, or should I say, wrong word, knocking out around 11, 12 o'clock. Even to this day, I go to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning. It's great. I love running a business. But there is the ability, time management-wise, to be able to go to a practice, be a part of a team. And yeah, there are some times where, you're going to a school that, Let's say a baseball team goes up to Berlin. Game's at 4, gets done at 6. You're not home till 8 or 9. I get it. That's a late night. But for one game out of the 14 or 16 that you're going to play, you got to go to Berlin. Other than that, though, you're hanging out up here. Or you're hanging out at home. Your games are at home. Or they're in Laconia. Or they're in Guilford. Or they're at Belmont. They're close, is my point. Unfortunately, this is, I fear, part of a bigger issue here. There are a lot of people in society these days who are unable, or who, how do I put this? Who only do what they want to do. You get the people who, when you say jump, they say how high. And then you get the people who you say jump and they say, I'm not really feeling like jumping today. And then you get the people who you say jump and they still have their earbuds in, listening to music, and they're attached to their phone. But that's another conversation. They're the ones sending us messages. They're the ones commenting on our Facebook post right now saying that we're trash. And then we'll not accept responsibility for said comments once the business owner confronts them. But there are people out there who have these commitment issues, and it stems from, or it's a part of, I should say, in my opinion, lack of accountability. Unfortunately, I've seen many times somebody does something that's wrong, it's they break a rule or whatever, and they're not held accountable. They're told, don't do it again, and then they go back to whatever they were doing. There is no punishment anymore. When I grew up, I sound like an old timer now. When I grew up, I did something wrong. I got, sent to, I got grounded, or sent to my room. Nowadays that doesn't happen as much. And I get that there are probably some people out there going, I beg to differ. I'm grounded right now with my phone quietly tucked away under my pillow. My mom doesn't know about it. No, but, there are some people who are still get grounded. They still, and that's okay, and I'm not trying to sit there and slant anybody's, teaching styles, parenting styles, anything like that, because everybody is entitled to doing things the way they want to do, and that's okay. What gets me is the fact that there is no introduction into life in general. You have, like, high school sports are there to teach you team bonding, teamwork, leadership. High school sports teach you how to be a part of a team. How to work with others, how to be able to communicate with others, and how to be able to, you're going to find this one ironic, commit to something. the people don't understand that being a part of a team at a high school level, although it's fun to be able to play soccer and play hockey and go and play, lacrosse and baseball and that's all fun. There's a bigger meaning to it. I always loved watching a freshman at a sports awards roll their eyes or whatever at a senior who's sitting there saying, "This team has taught me X, Y, Z, and taught me great skills for life, and all that," because the freshman is sitting there going, "Pff, yeah, been there, done that, heard this, move on." But then they're the ones 3 years later giving that same speech. And why is that? Because that's what athletics do. It's the same thing in college. I always laughed when my friends would go to an 8 a.m. lift with their team, and they would sit there and be like, "Why do I have to get up at 8 a.m.?" Or if it's, "Why is it at 7 p.m.?" Well, it's because it's teaching you how to be, one, able to manage your time, and two, how to be able to put you on like a schedule. Because one day, these people, you're going to graduate high school, college, wherever, and then you're going to get a job. And in that job, your employer's going to say, "Hey, I need you here every day at 8 a.m. All right? 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is when we start." So that daily exercise or that daily lift that these college kids have to be a part of or whatever, teach that. And most college kids have had a job before. Most college kids, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, "Oh, yeah, well, I understand this because I, one day or before I came to college, I had a job at the local ice cream stand and I had to be there at 4 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, Friday." These high school kids like a freshman or a sophomore may not know that yet. They may not have that experience, and that's what athletics do. A team, a coach, a JV coach telling a freshman or an 8th grader, "Hey, every day, Monday through Friday, except for game days, you need to be at this field at 3 o'clock. We have to go from 3 to 5, and there you go." That's commitment. That's teaching you how to budget your time, but also how to be able to, work on a schedule. The days of waking up, getting on the bus, going to school, getting home, and then going to bed at some point, those days run out eventually. And athletics is a way, there are multiple, but it is a way to teach that. The way I looked at it when I was in high school, the different clubs I was a part of were relatable to different jobs. In middle school, I was a part of the drama club, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe no, I'm sorry. I did the talent show in 5th and 6th grade. Okay. I also played baseball. So I had rehearsal from, I'm just going to throw out numbers, 3 to 4, and then baseball practice from 4:30 to 6 or whatever it was. You know, that taught me how to budget and how to schedule and how to plan. You know, because obviously I'm not going to wear my baseball clothes to rehearsal, and I'm not going to wear what I wear to rehearsal to baseball practice. So it taught me how to plan. It taught me how to, you know, budget my time. And that's exactly what these high school kids need. They don't want it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to they just don't want to, because it's too hard, or it's too time consuming, or I mean, and there are some things I will say that it is, but it, at the end of the day, there's more to gain than there is to lose when it comes to athletics, drama club, any type of club, anything that has any extracurricular activity. Unfortunately, there's just no commitment. Unfortunately, nobody wants to do the hard work. They just want the varsity pin. You know, the other one that really makes me laugh, kind of related to that, is the ones that have had most of the things in life given to them. They didn't earn it. You know, they felt like they earned it, but really they didn't. And then they get into high school, and a varsity coach doesn't start them. And they go, "Why? I'm here." And the coach goes, "You didn't do anything yesterday in practice. So-and-so who's starting in your position has worked their tail off. It's earned." At least that person's committed to being there, whether or not they're playing or not. But unfortunately, this all comes back around to where we started. Commitment issues lead to low numbers, which lead to struggling teams, which lead to a bad rep associated with that team, which leads to nobody wanting to play on a quote-unquote losing team, which then comes back to low numbers. And it's a vicious cycle. You know, what makes you want to play on a team that does well, or your friends? But let me tell you something. I'm not going to want to play on a team if it's losing. Maybe me personally, I'll push through, but the general mindset is, I don't want to be here. All we're going to do is lose. And unfortunately, that is its own cycle in itself. If every game you go up to or go to a game and you say we're going to lose, you're going to lose. That's point blank. That is black and white. You know, it's just like if I get in the car and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get in an accident today. And then I drive reckless. That's pretty accurate as to I'm going to get in an accident. You know, it's the mentality needs to change for some of these programs. I mean, I don't know how many times, or actually, not how many times, I had a conversation with a coach the other day who's won multiple championships in the last couple of years, and he said that everybody wants to be a part of his team. But he tells them point blank, if you're not going to come work, don't come. Everybody wants to be a part of a winning team, but not everybody wants to put in the work to be a part of that winning team or to contribute to that winning team. You know, it stinks because, like I said, it's all just a vicious cycle. Lack of numbers means a team that's struggling, which means maybe not winning, which means more lack of numbers because nobody wants to play for a quote-unquote losing team. And then program goes away. And then it starts again with, let's get the numbers. Oh, wow, we have 30 people who want to play. Great, let's go. Okay, only 10 people showed up. You know, and for some reason, the commitment issues don't just sit with athletics. I mean, or should I say the false commitment issues, false hope, same idea when I'm about with the thing I'm about to say. You know, we posted on our Instagram story, hey, we want to make these shirts, right? They say battle tested 3-sport athlete, has our logo on it. You know, we're going to sell them for $20. Would you buy this? 45 people said they would. Great. I only need 12 of you to buy them to be able to get the shirts. So 45, fantastic. Let's go. I release it. I put it on our website. I say, here you go. Buy it up. One person in 3 weeks has bought the shirt. Where's the other 44 people? You know, everybody is all for the mindless yes-no game. You know, how about the fact that when we put on our Instagram story, what do you think of this? And I put an open message response, you know, like one of those where you could type and say something. Nobody responds to it. Nobody. But then if I just put a, should we use this, yes or no, so many people say yes, so many people say no. Why? Because it's easy to just tap. I don't want to type. You want me to type? I don't want to do that. I'd rather just tap it and move on. Tap yes or no, move on. Unfortunately, that is how society is these days. They want all the benefits with no work. And it's sad. And it stinks. Because it's just like, come on, man. That's difficult for us as a small business to work in. Because we do a lot of things based off of what the feedback is. Hey, do you guys want to should we do this, yes or no? Yeah, go for it. Okay, great, we're here. Why isn't anybody showing up? You know, I'd much rather you not respond in that case than respond and give us the wrong information, wrong sense of hope. Unfortunately, lack of commitment is what is going to kill high school sports. The lack of commitment, which equates to not wanting to put in the work. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're going to be a part of a sports team, you need to be prepared to do the work. It's through and through. You know, you need to be prepared to do the work. And that is what sometimes scare people away and make it so they don't want to do it. I mean, come on, man. I feel like at this point I'm just kind of talking in circles. And I realize that this second half segment wasn't as strong as that first half. However, that first half was more or less me venting and people at home listening going, ho, 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 go Devin. Or, haha, listen to this little boy. But, yeah. To finish off here, I think, unfortunately, I had to stop recording like 3 times because I'm driving. But to finish off, let's talk about spring sports. I did record a little podcast talking more specific about spring sports. I know a lot of people on our Instagram wanted us to do a spring sports preview, but I'll admit I don't know the teams well enough to be able to give an accurate preview. So, with that being said, we'll talk spring sports about us. In the last month or so, or almost a month and a half now that we include first week of spring sports, we've been working our tail off, and that's part of the reason why we haven't done a podcast in almost a month. It's because we've been just grinding. We've been just working. And it's been so much fun, to be completely honest. You know, it's as much as people want to sit there and scrunch their nose and go, work, fun? What are you talking about? That 4-letter word known as work can be associated with the 3-letter word known as fun. Just saying. You just got to find the right job. Or work for yourself, which is what I chose to do in life. Only issue is that doesn't come with a big paycheck at first. But basically, we were working on different camera angles. You know, we have that for baseball, softball. We have that backstop camera down pat. I am so happy with that. The only thing we're still working on is the lighting, but we got the lighting to work really well. Got the lighting to work really well at the last baseball game we covered. So we're making gains with that. But also, like, did you guys know that we have a wire cam? Yeah, I might have posted it once, twice, 100 times on social media. That's been a lot of fun to work with, the wire cam. We haven't used it yet for a sporting event other than a preseason scrimmage. But that's only because of the wind. There's been a lot of wind whipping, and we can use it in the wind. It makes for blah type shots. And why set it all up to get blah shots? But yeah, that was a lot of fun. We worked on that. I will say that we've perfected it to work for track and field, baseball, softball, basically anything with permanent structures, since it's like fencing and stuff. The ones that we're still working on are the freestanding structures, such as a field that has no fence posts or anything to tie off to. So we're working on it. We're working on it. We'll get back to you on that one. Ultimately, we've been waiting for the ground to dry. because we can't really put anything into the ground and then expect it to hold up when the ground is soaked. But yeah, for baseball, softball, track and field, some cool stuff, like I said. We plan to try and utilize that more. There is a way, by the way, for you to get your own wire cam. Just head on over to our website, dppgnetwork.com. Scroll down on the main page. There is an ad. Click on it. It'll take you to the Viral Light website, and a portion of your cart will go to DPPG. So spend it up. Rack up that cart. Get ready to spend some money, and part of it goes to us. That'd be really cool. It's a new affiliate program we have with Viral Light. But yeah, I mean, for spring sports, it's been a week. It's been a lot of fun. We covered 7 games last week, which is just mind-boggling. And this week, I think we got 2 track meets, a couple lacrosse games, a couple baseball games, softball as well. We covered tennis last week for the first time ever. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a good week. It was a good opening week. But yeah, well, here we are on to week 2. Another 7 games to go. And then yeah, we're on track to cover 35 or so games. Which is pretty cool. And it'll be a lot of fun. So that's it. I mean, we'll end it here, honestly. We kind of fell apart in that last 10 minutes or so. But started off strong and then fell apart. But yeah, so that's our show. I want to say thank you all so much for tuning in and supporting the podcast. Midway through the season, we'll do a mid-season report on the sports, because by then I should have seen all the teams and I can give a good idea of how I feel about them, what I think they're going to be able to do come postseason time. Hope we didn't upset anybody when we, in the first part of the show, I was talking about people talking behind our backs. I did come off a little strong, but you know what? I was fired up about it. And I feel like that might be what sells on this show, how people want to hear Devin fired up, because normally I'm a cool, calm, collected guy. Anyways, so again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Follow our Facebook page, follow our Instagram and Twitter accounts to be able to follow our season. But until we see each other for the next podcast, I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your night, great rest of your evening, whenever you're listening to this, great rest of your morning, who knows. But until then, peace.